Welcome to Negocios with VISILA BOKOKO. Today is a special day for me because I'm here with Marie-Claire Giraud, which is a nice friend of mine and somebody who I admire. And I've been following her career closely. And in this case, it's an honor and a privilege for me to just welcome you here today, Marie-Claire.
Thank you so much, VISILA. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we want to talk about so many things. Of course, music is the core of everything. But I would like first to to give us a little bit about your background and what leads you into music. And you fell in love with opera too. So just tell us how this happened.
So I'm originally from the island of Dominica in the Caribbean, a little island between Guadeloupe and Martinique. And when my parents divorced, my mother moved my brother and I to the Bronx. So I grew up in New York City, went to high school here, college. I studied archaeology at Brooklyn College. Then in my last year, it's when I met Anna. And when we were working at Tower Records downtown, and all of this new music I discovered, from Ella Fitzgerald to Sarah Vaughan to Patsy Cline, to all these amazing singers. And one day I happened to be upon an open mic night, and I got up and sang. And BISILA, it's like God spoke to me, literally. It's like I found my calling. God said, okay,
that's here. My calling.
You got it. You got it. You made it. and from since that time, I have never looked back. And then Anna and I were living in Austin, Texas, and we were both working again at Tower Records, opened a store there. And I was able to get tickets to see Don Giovanni by Mozart. And when I saw that, I had already studied classical piano, so I was pretty fluent in classical music. But when I saw the live production of Don Giovanni, I said to myself, that's what I want to do. I want to study opera singing. And I went to Rome, studied there, came back to New York, debuted at Carnegie Hall with the New York Grand Opera Company, and I basically never looked back. Lots of bumps along the road, but I've never looked back.
And tell me, what means girl full of gold?
Girl Full of Gold is a take on the Van Eyck painting, The Girl with the Pearl Earring. Mm-hmm. And it's from a picture that a friend of mine took in Dominica. And it just had it had the very same kind of, the way that she's looking in that painting, but there was a gold light around it. So that's how I came up with the name Girl Full of Gold.
I love that name.
Isn't it fantastic? It just creates an image in your mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. So music is a business, but it has changed so much since you started 30 years ago.
Yes.
So tell me, and particularly in New York City, what changes have you seen in music?
Well, I can say, during this past year that we've all been living under internationally, that everything was shut down, basically everything. I did a lot of concerts online. Angel Blue invited me to do some concerts with her. Angel Blue is a soprano at the Met and all over the world. And she invited me to take part in some online concerts. I was able to have this weekly gig at Dante's on McDougal Street in the West Village, which I'm still doing every Sunday. We stopped for maybe a couple of months during the pandemic, but once we were able to open up again, they called me back. So that's a regular thing I'm doing. But there's been a lot of things online, but thank God now everywhere is opened. So now we can get back to performing live, which is the best.
That's the best. And
yes,
in general, what is the challenges for an opera singer? Because it is many different kinds of music that I know that you are able to sing, and I have seen you. But opera is special. What is the challenges that you found yourself?
Well, it's interesting that you should ask that, BISILA. I was categorized, as you know, as a contralto, but I was wrongly categorized, which is why I was having so many vocal problems, and I didn't understand until I met my present teacher, Richard Barrett. I met Richard it hasn't been long, since March, late March, and I'm a full lyric soprano. And from since then, my voice has just been going.
Wow.
It's like all the different roadblocks, all the little problems that I was having, we're just ironing them out, and it's just been magical.
So it's very important to find the right mentor and the right teacher.
that is super important because the voice is a muscle and it's very fragile. And if you don't meet the right person, it can easily be destroyed forever. So it's super important to find the right person. I just thank God that I have found him and now I'm on the right path and I'm singing, oh, beautiful.
Wonderful. And how many hours of training you have a day? Because I know that you're a hard worker. I have seen you. Yeah.
Yes.
So how many hours you work in your voice?
I would say it's so funny, you know, when on my TV right now, I'm watching Aida because I'm like, I have my score out on the bed. So it's like basically all day. It's like I always have music on. I'm always thinking about what I did in my last lesson. Or I record my lessons, which is very important, not only for the audio, but visually to see how the mouth is placed, where the tongue is, how you're standing, your posture. All of that is super important in creating vocal production. So it's basically all day. It's all I think about.
And as a business, what is the challenges that you find? It's difficult to just have the support. Right now, of course, I know that it's been a very challenging year for all musicians, but in general, what kind of support you were hoping to have, you know, to just take off?
I find that usually the general public have no idea what it is to be an artist. They're like, oh, you sing, you could just get up and sing. And no, not even for pop singers. You don't just get up. It's a whole production. Now, when you get onto the level of opera, you're talking about such intense study, not only of the music, but of the language, of the timing, of the diction. Everything has to be so precise because you want to honor what the composer wrote. So everything has to be on point. So you have to be not only physically healthy, but you have to be spiritually healthy and mentally healthy and just really taking extremely good care of self. So it's super important.
It is important, yes. And from all your experiences, which of the performance of all the operas is your favorite, or the one that you're thinking this was meant for me?
Oh my goodness. Well, right now, I'm working on Aida. And it is BISILA. Oh, when you come, I'm going to invite you to come here because it is just, I mean, it's thrilling. You know, it's one thing to love this music, but it's another thing to be able to produce this music, you know? And right now, on top of all of that, I am beginning to understand my technique, how my voice works within that technique, and what I need to do so that Marie Claire is the best singer that I can be. So it's really a thrilling time, a very exciting time.
Wow, I got goosebumps. What advice you will give to women of color who want to go into the opera? Because you know that is a very unique world. And I can imagine all of the, you know, difficulties that you might encounter. But what advices you will give?
I would say, number one, you have to be around like-minded people. And you have to surround yourself with people that understand what you're doing, what your goal is, what your purpose is. Because to be an opera singer, you really basically have to sequester yourself. You have to live like a monk sometimes, you know, no talking, lots of rest, eat properly. So like-minded people, positive people, and never give up. If you know within yourself, you have what it takes, you can never give up. Because you never know in this world, right, that we're living in right now, where the opportunities lie. You just never know. So you can't ever give up. And like my teacher, Richard Barrett says, don't skip the steps. Don't think that if you skip that step, you're going to jump 5 steps forward. No, because you're just going to go 5-10 steps back. So take your time, be methodical. You know, the slow turtle wins the race, and just be methodical and take one step at a time, and don't give up.
Absolutely. And how it changed for you, the virtual world, because I know that your energy when you are around people, it's incredible. But I mean, it was
Thank
too
you, Visila.
difficult for you, the switch to just being talking to a
Oh,
camera and
oh,
just, I mean, I know how much you like to introduce yourself and all the team and doing that online. Tell me, how was it?
Visila, can I tell you? Self-taping? Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank God for Anna, because I was a complete nightmare. You know, it's like I have my own home studio. I feel like I could direct my own movie.
Oh,
No
that's
problem.
good.
I would
You learn,
want to, but
but you learn by doing, right?
I
Yeah.
learn by doing, because it's all about lighting, you know,
Mhm.
camera position. You really have to know what you're doing. So that was a challenge for me.
Wow.
Yes. Self-taping.
And
Yes.
I mean, as a musician living in New York and knowing that the Met closed and so many places closed economically, what keeps you going? Because I have here so many people that they have to move out of New York. They have to just find other ways of living.
Right.
So what keeps you going? Because I know that it
Well,
was not easy.
it definitely was not easy, but thank God, my mom, we own the home, so that's a blessing. So
Mhm.
we own the home that I live in. So when I did lose my job, I worked for NYC Parks. I'm able to collect unemployment, but even before that, when the offices closed, because I was an executive assistant at NYC Parks for one of the commissioners, they asked me if I would like to be a frontline worker and give out masks to underprivileged people on the streets of New York, like go to homeless areas, the youth. And that's what I did for a lot of it. For 8 months, I was a frontline worker, and I love that. I love people. So I loved engaging with people every day. And so we handed out masks, gloves, and hand sanitizers. So I
Wow.
did that, and I'm still collecting unemployment. So that keeps me going. And I just thank God.
And what do you see the future of the opera? Do you think the new generations will also connect with it? How do you see it? Just to conclude, what is your vision about the opera world?
You know, I think that the opera world and operas are extremely relevant, because when you break it down, where all of the operas, all the characters are young people. Mimi and Rodolfo are not old. You know, Mimi's like 21, Rodolfo's 22. Practically all of them are young people. So I think if the operatic community took it from a whole different aspect, they could pull young people, a whole new generation that would love to hear this music. I mean, the music is glorious. Is it not, Basila?
It is. I am loving it. You know how much I love it and how much
I know.
I love to be in the Met and living in a city like New York, where you are
Yes,
exposed to so many different possibilities every single day.
it's a blessing.
It's a blessing, definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So I feel the same way as you. I think that the new generations we will continue just supporting the opera,
yes.
and opera will be back for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe it. I believe it. Yes.
So we wish you the best, Marie Claire, and
Thank you so much for having me.
thank you also for your time and to
Yes.
bring that enthusiasm, because what we will be without music, thanks to
Oh,
people like you, you make life so much better. And
thank you.
looking at what you have done online and listening to your music when the days were dark during this time. I mean, people like you make our life so much better. We have seen this all over the world, how people get into their windows and start singing, and how
Yes.
everybody feels better. So we thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, Bazila. I greatly appreciate this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie Claire. Ciao,
Okay. Take
ciao.
care.